Hi, my name is Nicole Peoples. For my presentation, I analyzed Njoki Wane's book, Indigenous African Knowledge Production, Food Processing Practices Among Kenyan Rural Women. This ethnography is a powerful challenge to Western narratives that have historically dismissed indigenous practices as primitive. Wane centers her study on the Embu women of rural Kenya, arguing that they are not manual laborers but the sophisticated custodians of a deep and holistic knowledge system. So during her studies, there were lots of different methodologies that she used, but one of the key takeaways is that her methodology itself was an anti-colonial perspective. Her primary method were interviews with 14 Embu women, combined with participant observation, working alongside of them in their farms and in their kitchens. She describes herself as both an insider and an outsider, and she built trust through the process called threshold crossing, respecting local protocols to access knowledge rather than just extracting it. The study isn't just about a singular food crop, but about how all of them have been connected. And when I say all of them, I mean women, food, and the land. Wane examines their entire food system, from production, if you're thinking about the digging sticks, processing with grinding stones, and preservation of rituals. A key quote that really stuck out to me was, "I never witnessed a single moment when their hands were idle," talking about how women were always working and how food, women, and the land were always connected. Along with that was the kitchen. The kitchen wasn't just a place to cook. It was like a central hub for knowledge production and sharing. It was where elders like Wachuma tell stories around the fire, passing down clan history to the grandchildren. The connection between the kitchen and women and indigenous knowledge are all seen throughout the entire reading. This deep connection explains the rejection to modern technology, and which really did come from a place of reason, although for Western discourse it was seen as ignorant or primitive. But it was a calculated decision based on the fact that it did also affect the environment, it affected the soil, it affected their health, and then spiritually they felt like it was going to make it like a disconnect and threaten to erase the traditional knowledge and food that defined their culture. Another big thing that she made a point to recognize was the impact of colonialization. I found it interesting within the reading that Wane makes it clear that the dismissal of this knowledge was no accident. It was a direct result of colonialization and the patriarchy. Colonial powers imposed Victorian ideals on women and made them go into these submissive roles and discredited their own knowledge. They created the stark contradiction. Women are the knowledge carriers, but men are seen as the owners. This erasure was so systematic that even the United Nations accounted systems officially classified women's immense domestic work as economically useless, rendering their contribution invisible. In conclusion, Wane's work not only validates indigenous knowledge, it also encourages us all to check our bias at the door. By treating the women's oral stories as valid texts, she proves that the path to the sustainable future doesn't lie solely in new technology, but by also listening to the wisdom of those who have sustained our communities for generations. I appreciate y'all listening. I hope you have a good night.